Hey, New York Jet fans from all around the world. Welcome to Laugh Through the Turbulence, a New York Jets podcast, the show that delivers you all your Jets content. Here are your hosts, John, Adden, and Monty. All the best to the New York Jet fans. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets.
Boy.
Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday, right?
What's going on?
It's Tuesday, right? Yeah, just making sure and all that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the days all kind of run together.
Yeah. It was hot in New York today, man.
Yeah, too damn hot. It's been too damn hot lately. 95 the other day, 98 the other day. It's crazy.
Yeah, no wonder why players don't want to be here right now and be like in other countries checking shit out. Like Joe Burrow doing the French fashion show, looking like a fucking idiot.
Yeah. He usually looks pretty swaggy, though. I'm not gonna lie.
He usually knows what he's doing. Yeah,
he usually knows what he's doing with the style.
But he must have got paid a shitload for that shit. You know, there's no way.
And he doesn't pick what he's wearing for that. You know what I mean?
Correct. They always pick some goofy shit for you to wear.
Yeah.
No, just anyway. I don't know if but we had a caller come in really early today, and like they basically had a something they wanted to say, and I kind of wanted to share what that was, and I hope that's okay with you guys, right?
Go for it.
Hello, boys from Laugh Through the Turbulence. It's the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Love the show, but I'm calling in so you can relay a message to Haason Reddick. I see him dressing up, trying to style and profile in the land of the rising sun, and I can't understand why he's there. I'm here in America giving all those pretty ladies the opportunity to hunk to a spit on that thing before they get to ride Space Mountain. Know this, Haason, you may think you look good dressed up like that, but you will never be the specimen that I am. I have more world championships than you've had women, and you've got no world championships. If you want to be the man, you gotta be the man and get that ring. Get your ass back to Florida Park so we can bring a world championship back to New York City. Come back to being every woman's dream and every QB's nightmare. Come back to being a style and profile, limousine wild, jet black, Eastern, Bloomington, son of a gun. Woo!
Woo! Wow, that's pretty funny that Ric Flair has the same interior decorator as you.
Yeah,
he definitely does.
Looks like you guys live in the same apartment. That's crazy.
He must be an upstairs neighbor in one of his burner apartments.
Yeah, I guess so, man. I mean, he must have hired Golda's the one that actually did my interior decorating. So but she definitely wrote Space Mountain with him if she fucking decorated his apartment, you know. Yeah, but
so,
I don't know. Yeah, what do we think about this? So, Haason Reddick, he was seen, I guess, in Japan, right? And basically, people are kind of losing their fucking shit about it. I mean, here's a little picture of him trying to.
Oh God, I blocked it out of my head, and Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, he is not styling and profiling like Ric Flair.
No,
right?
He thinks he's a freaking last samurai, but he looks more like a freaking geisha with the socks and the sand. I understand that some of that's like traditional samurai formal attire or whatever, but he looks goofy. He looks goofy as hell. If this is what you missed training camp for, bro, like, come on. This shit is stupid. Yeah. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. I really want to go to Japan. Like, Japan's dope. I've been, into Japanese culture. I studied martial arts for many years. I love the culture, but I'm not going over there when I have millions of dollars on the line and training camp and all that stuff and going to be dicking around in Japan, playing dress up.
Yeah, I mean, I took Japanese for like a couple of years in high school and shit like that, right?
That's cool.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go. And I guess like now would be the right time weather-wise over there, right? Because it's like kind of nice out there right now. And I guess the East Coast right now is going through a bit of a heat wave, which is okay, whatever. But yeah, I mean, like, do that in the off season, right before the draft or something like that, right? If anything, right? But Adnan, how much are we panicking right now after seeing that?
Well, I mean, again, it's not panic, right? I've never said I'm panicked. It's annoyed. It's stupid, right?
All right, so how annoyed are you right now, dude?
Like, that's the thing. I mean, I've been like on a scale of 1 to 10,
Off
I'm
the
at 1,000,
charts.
right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not. This is just unnecessary. It's uncalled for. Like he should be with his team now. If he had showed up for mini camp, OTAs, and all of that, and then went to Japan and did that, it would be a great way to unwind and relax before the season, right? But not showing up and then doing this, that is really frustrating, right? And it's kind of like a screw you to the Jets also,
Yeah.
and it seems like, and we said it, in previous episodes, that the guy's a mercenary, right? Which is fine, but there's a reason why the Eagles traded him, right? There's a reason why the Eagles said, we're going to sign Bryce Huff, pay him, and find somebody to take Reddick because we don't want to deal with it anymore, right? So, it's kind of coming to fruition a little bit as to why the Eagles were willing to get rid of such a productive player. They're in a win now window. They're in win now mode every year, and they traded a guy like him, right? So that just kind of shows a little bit as to, what goes on behind the scenes there. Now, look, he shows up to training camp. He, has 15 sacks and has a great season. This is all forgotten. But if he doesn't, then this is going to be the talking point. Then this is going to be, well, Reddick wasn't even committed to the team, right? And this is what will snowball from all the guys like Samini, who are going to be the first person to point this out, if he pulls a muscle in training camp. So it's just an unnecessary distraction for a team with enough distractions. So that's why it's frustrating to me, because it's just all unnecessary to do these things. So we'll see how it plays out. But it's like every time you see something about Reddick, it's just worse and worse, right? Or more annoying. So, I just wish this whole thing would be put to bed and we can take it from there. But we'll see how things play out. See what he does next week.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to end up paying him. I think that's just what's going to happen, right? Like, just like it's going to be something like maybe like a little bit more on the contract, plus some fucking massive incentives or some bullshit.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, at this point, it's interesting that he picked Japan. I don't know if it's because of the special offer the Japanese government's offering people to come in, or men in particular. But like, and I won't get into that.
I heard that's not true. Actually, I was looking that up too.
That's not true.
Yeah, it's not true. It was like, just for those who weren't, essentially they were offering. The rumor was they were offering an alleged amount of money up to $75,000 for men to come over and have children with Japanese women for the purpose of helping them, because their birth rates are catastrophically low and stuff like that. They don't have enough younger population to support their massive aging population. So, but that's not true. It's not true. They are doing incentives of certain kinds, but they're not. There's nothing like that directly that's in place that I know of.
So we're not.
There's a lot of people that would have been on their way over there right now. They'd be on a plane as we speak.
Yeah, I saw it. I was like talking to the boys. I'm like, boys trip, right?
And I don't think a guy like Reddick would do something like that, because once he gets paid, that kid is coming back for child support, right?
Right.
Like, so
the laws apply for that so much if they're in different country, right? Because I think it's in country, right? I'm not.
But if they moved here, right? Like you wouldn't move here for a piece of that. So
you go through citizenship, although the border's wide open right now, so it's a better time than ever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So like that, I mean, he can't be there forever, right? Let's just say that, right? He's got to come back at some point, right?
Yeah, I'm not even worried about that at all. He's just he's enjoying his time off. Listen, I spoke on this when we spoke on it last time, which is pretty much he's got no incentive to be there right now. He has no guaranteed money left on his contract. So, there's really no reason for him to be at practice, because honestly, if he comes into practice and pulls a Carl Lawson and goes out, out for season before the season even starts, he screwed himself and the Jets so royally by doing that. not only does he screw up his contract chance, because this is a contract year for him, it also screws up his ability to to actually show his stats, and also possibly get an extension with us if he really does well. It's just, there's just too much disincentive. He's totally disincentivized to even come at this point and do anything other than keep himself in shape. Once there's some guaranteed money on the table, some incentives and stuff like that, which is where I kind of blame Joe D and the Jets organization a little bit, because I think they, if I'm in that, if I'm in that mode, you kind of got to think a little bit more 2 steps ahead. Like, granted, I'm not a GM, and this is probably why, but I imagine some of the other GMs like Howie Roseman, like Greer down in Miami, like, these other guys, I think they would have been more, they would have been thinking more ahead and not just been like, oh, well, let's just get this guy, and take him at face value. And he's not working out on the Eagles, even though he's like a top 4 in terms of sacks. Like, why would the Eagles be getting rid of him? Could he potentially be some sort of a problem, locker room problem, whatever? You should have thought some of that stuff through, before drafting him. Or maybe they did, and they were like, listen, we
just be careful.
I mean, I'm sorry, not draft him, sign him. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So,
they have to have some cap issues coming up, right? And realistically, if you think today, right, if both Reddick and Huff are getting contracts today, who would get the bigger contract? It's Reddick, right? It would definitely be Reddick.
He's fourth in sacks over the past 4 years, total sacks.
Exactly.
Only 4 people have more sacks than him. I mean, 3 people in the whole league. That's crazy. That's a crazy level of consistency. I'm
curious who is it? Would have to be like TJ Watt, probably, even still.
Yeah.
Garrett, and then probably Parsons. Wait, you said 3 years or what?
It's 3. I just know he's 4th. I can pull it up and see.
I would bet it's those 3 who I think are the best edge rushers in the league.
Well, I would say this, going back to what Monty was saying about like Joe Douglas. That was my initial take, right? But it does seem like there is a lot of chatter and news, that the Jets and Reddick came to an agreement that, hey, man, before we trade from you, we're not looking to extend you. And he said, cool, I'm ready to do it for a proven year, and then we'll take it from there. And then it looks like, after they traded away JFM, they weren't able to re-sign Huff. He saw an opportunity for leverage and went back on his word, right? If that's the case, then, I think it's more of an issue of Joe Douglas and the front office not doing due diligence on the type of person Reddick is, right? So I think, if you
so hold on real quick. So the 3 ahead of him are Trey Hendrickson for Cincinnati, Myles Garrett for Cleveland, and TJ Watt.
Okay, so Parsons. It's not Parsons. Okay.
It's not Parsons, no.
Interesting. But yeah, I just think that's kind of like where it is. If the Jets had a conversation with him before the trade and he said, I'm good to go, no worries.
Yeah, but even still, you got to be able to suss out when what someone's saying doesn't line up with everything that works out for them. Because even me, if I was like I didn't think this through, right? But I also, my job isn't to acquire NFL caliber talent. If it was, I'd be thinking those extra 2 steps ahead, like I do in my own job, doing, sales operations for major, insurance companies. There's a lot of stuff that you have to look. You can't just look at what's on the table that's being proposed and evaluate it like that. You got to evaluate it holistically and look at how it connects to this situation, that situation, what the next 2 kind of moves after that. I think that, when you're talking about this much money, when you're talking about a make or break year, when you're talking about all these things, you kind of got to think. But what I was also going to say is it's possible maybe they did think that, and maybe they're just like, listen, I'm fucked if this doesn't work out anyway. Let's just throw everything at the fucking wall and see what sticks. That's what that could be it. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think that really makes more sense more than anything else. They're like, listen, If he tries to act up, he's under contract. He shoots himself in the foot because he can't. How's he going to negotiate with another team if he held out and didn't play for us in his contract year? That's going to kill his trade or his acquisition value.
Yeah. I mean, it could also just be the agent's a total dirtbag, and sometimes the agents are like that, right?
True, that too.
They could have spoken to Reddick, and he was like, "Yeah, man," and then the agent was probably like telling Reddick, "Hey, we can get some money here," So who knows what it is? I think he's just going to produce regardless. I mean, yeah, there's the fear that he gets hurt, but I mean, there's a fear that he gets hurt right now anyway, right? And just so you know, just for reference, the Jets trade what was a 2026 third rounder for this, right? Or something like that, right?
It was peanuts. It wasn't really anything crazy.
Yeah. So it was to fill a need, obviously, which is the big thing, right? Which is basically making the defensive line what PFF ranked as the best defensive line in football, which I thought that was
with Reddick. With Reddick, I think that's right.
You know what's crazy though, and I hate the Giants, but they had the Giants at 18th, and I thought that was abysmally embarrassing.
No, that's terrible, man. They're solid, dude.
Yeah, I mean, KT is up and coming, and he's had flashes of looking really good, right? Dexter is, I think, as good as Quinnen.
Yeah, we loved KT. We wanted KT for the Jets.
Yeah, and then he said he liked LeBron over Jordan, and I was like,
yeah. I mean, I always like Sauce.
That
was always my pick.
There,
if he had lasted, if he had fell, I would,
Yeah, well, just remember in that draft, right? We had already signed DJ Reed, right? And we were like, oh, we're probably set at cornerback because Bryce Hall was looking good, right?
Was looking good, yeah. But
so we thought that was gonna be the tandem, right? And Michael Carter
can't pass on that.
And then they're like, no, we're gonna get Sauce. We're like
that generational talent there. You can't pass on that shit.
Yeah, he's starting to golf now too, Sauce. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I saw it. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It looks like my swing a little bit, but better.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he gets on the show one day, and you guys can talk golf and bullshit.
Yeah, I would like to do that. But anyway, I guess we can go to our next topic. Is basically, we can just go to PFT and what they just did to us, basically. Yeah, it's kind of abysmal, but we're just going to share a screen right now. Eventually, I'm going to show our heads, but basically, they showed the disrespect, basically.
Yeah, especially with the all complaints welcome and expected. Yeah. That's really it. Because I would say a lot of this list makes sense. I don't really see any others other than the Jets. Like, are there any other ones in here who is anyone else here who really got snubbed?
I just want to say this: the teams that they put ahead of us, right, which is just fucking nuts, right? They put the Bears,
yeah,
right, who were the Colts, who had an injury, who were better without Richardson than we were without Rodgers, right? The Falcons were testing a guy coming off a fucking Achilles, right? Highest paid quarterback in the league, Jaguars, right? And this was the most embarrassing for me. The combination of our former quarterbacks right now being the most veteran quarterbacks on these teams, the Broncos and the Vikings over the Jets.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. The Broncos, first of all, we beat the shit out of them. All right. We beat the Broncos, and we were a better team, better record than they had. There's no reason for that. And then the Vikings, they have a rookie at quarterback right now. And look at the Chargers. I mean, their best wide receiver right now is a rookie, and whatever's left of DJ Shark's career. Like, it's like there's just nothing really there that's like that deserves the Jets to be this low, while these other people are. It just goes to show the Jets are really the most disrespected team in the league. It is. There's just no way around it now.
Who also looked really disrespected here too? Was the Cowboys. I thought they were 16 on this list, right? And that's a consistent playoff team, right? They had them below the Steelers.
But would you put them above 12? So I don't think it matters. Like, to me, it's like, as long as they're within the 12 to 18 range, I wouldn't have really batted an eyelash, because the margin on those teams is razor thin anyway.
All right. Well, real quick, the Bucks at 9.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little crazy. You're expecting what's his name, Mayfield, to really continue that pace that we never ever saw from him before. But maybe maybe he will continue it now that he actually has good receivers.
A Russell Wilson led Steelers is 14, and the Jets are 25.
Yeah, another one that's a fucking kick in the head is the Falcons. Kirk Cousins has the same injury as Rodgers that he got later in the season. He got it halfway through the season. Rodgers got it game 1 and was already like ready to play. We don't even know what Kirk Cousins, where he's at. And the Falcons defense can't hold a candle to the Jets defense. Like, the only way they match up with us is Bijan to Brees. Like, that's a pretty good matchup because Bijan is a beast, and so is Brees. Drake London, he's not as good as Garrett. But then they also have what's that tight end again? I forgot his name because he disappointed me. Kyle Pitts. Yeah, disappointed me so much in fantasy that that I kind of blocked him out. But he's pretty good. Other than that, man, like what? How are they that many that far ahead of us? No, they shouldn't be ahead of us at all.
I think right when you look at this, one is there is a Pro Football Talk, and not just Pro Football Talk, but also a Mike Florio bias against the Jets for whatever reason it is. And I also think I'm pretty sure he loathes Aaron Rodgers, right? So, I think that is the reason why, more so than look at the talent, look at the wins, look at the teams ahead of them. I think that it's just more of a fact that this is kind of who Florio is, and he runs Pro Football Talk. So this is what it's going to look like. Looking at the teams ahead of them, I mean, I think a lot of it is insane, right? Look, the Jets, to me, are every team ahead of them. They are head and shoulders better than the Steelers, Chargers, Bears, Colts, Falcons, Jaguars, Seahawks, Broncos, Vikings, and Saints. There's no argument that at worst they should be 14 here. I mean, looking at the other teams, the Packers at 6, ahead of the Bills and the Bengals, right? It just, a lot of this doesn't make much sense, outside of the Chiefs, Niners, Lions, and Ravens top 4. You could even make an argument that the Eagles shouldn't be top 5, right? So I think this whole list is a mess, but having the Jets at 25 is more so about a bias than what this roster actually looks like. And I think, Monty, you said it in our group chat that but this is also fine because, some of the hype around the Jets, I would like it to cool down just a little bit, and let them go out, let them, beat teams, let them be as under the radar as they possibly can, and let's see what happens, because I don't think that, having all of this pressure in a city like New York is worth it until they start winning games. So sit down a little bit, that's cool, but I would also say it is insane.
Yeah, we didn't even have the 25th, it's not even like we had the 25th record. There were I think 4 or 5 teams that had a 7-10 record.
Yeah.
We were tied for 7th, in terms of win total. We had a better record than multiple teams that are on that list above us. So now I did kind of, yeah, exactly. So I did kind of dig into it a little bit, and I found out that so one of the main points that was offered as reasoning for this abysmal shit show of a ranking was the fact that I guess Florio and those folks, they felt that the Jets are relying on too many injury prone or injured veterans. That we have too many, injured veterans. But I think that that's complete BS too, because it's anyone that's a veteran that has any sort of injury issue, we shored that up with a backup. Aaron Rodgers isn't injury prone, but we got Tyrod Taylor anyway. Tyron Smith, he's injury prone, but he still plays a good 12, 13, 10 to 13 games a year. And we got the, consensus number 2 overall, left tackle to back him up. And Mike Williams, yeah, he's got some injury issues, but we got Malachi Corley. And, Garrett Wilson's pretty damn good at football as well. Even if we didn't have Mike Williams and we just had Corley, that would still be, a threat there in the wide receiver room. So I don't think his reasoning holds up.
But also, what I would also say is like a power ranking isn't a future projection, right? Power rankings get updated every week based on the current state of what the teams look like. And as of right this second, every single player on the Jets roster is healthy. And when they're all healthy, they're a top 7 to 10 roster at worst in the NFL, right? Yep. And so I think that's where my thing comes from, is that they don't understand what a power ranking even is then, right? Because this isn't looking at it as, well, we're projecting the Jets to win 9 games because of these reasons. Then you can say, okay, I can at least see your rationale. But a power ranking is a current state of the team. And the way the team is currently constituted, everybody's healthy and everybody's ready to play. And when that happens, you're a top 5, 7, 10 roster in the NFL.
Yeah, the only leg that they could maybe stand on is like the Jets, quote unquote, being cursed, bad luck, the situation where just shit just doesn't, if
never
there's
works out for us.
Yeah, if there's a 50-50, if there's a coin flip situation that's deciding the Jets' fate for any reason, it's always going to bank to the side that we don't want it to bank. And that's kind of what history has shown. But you know what? That can't last forever. Like, even degenerate gamblers, like, they don't lose forever. You eventually win, Even a broken clock is right twice a day. So, like, the Jets can't just get it wrong forever. Look at the Lions. They sucked forever. You just thought they were going to be awful for history, and then now they're good. So it's like the Jets can do that too.
Yeah, and I think
maybe
well,
we are.
I think again, right? Again, like, none of that matters in a power ranking.
Sure.
Right? I think that's the big thing to me, is that a power ranking isn't like a future projection. It's a ranking of what the teams look like right now. And so I think all of that is just a miss, on Pro Football Talk. And it is what it is, man. They have the right to do their power rankings however they want to. I think it's nonsense, but we'll see how it plays out.
You think it has anything to do with, it's an NBC network, right? That's how it's based. I mean, we can get political with it since that's always fun, right? But do you think it has anything to do with the fact that Rodgers go against the vaccine?
I don't think so, man. I don't
listen. It's not necessarily the vaccine, but I think in general, like, Aaron Rodgers has made himself, listen, I thought he was kind of an idiot before he became a Jet. And even still, like, I don't necessarily love his politics. He just kind of seems like more like less concerned about politics, more concerned about just doing whatever the hell he wants. And, just kind of also he likes to kind of rub people the wrong way and likes to be in the light a little bit, not, I don't know to what degree I would say, but I get that vibe from him. So I see that he's made it not so hard for the media and for certain people to hate on him. And I think they do hate on him because, his politics and the other things, that sort of stuff, they make it easy for him too. And I'm pretty sure, like, if you look on, Florio's page, I'm sure you'll see, his Twitter page or X, whatever. I'm pretty sure you'll see some things in his history that, will show that he's probably on a different political alignment than Aaron Rodgers probably is. But I don't necessarily think that it's solely political. That definitely has an aspect to it, though, is my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't know what you think, Adnan.
Yeah, I think it's a small piece, right? Like, I think it's more so that everything that Rodgers is about, right? It's like, the vaccine stuff, the ayahuasca, like all of these things that he does, darkness retreats. I think people just look at all of that and say he's just not serious about football anymore, right? And especially the national media that isn't around him, that isn't, working, with him on a daily basis. It's clear that the locker room loves him, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
But it's just like when you're completely out of the loop and the only thing you see are, 18-second clips here, 35-second clips there, and that informs, like your whole viewpoint on Aaron Rodgers to say that, the Jets are 25th out of 32 teams in the NFL. I think that all has something to do with it, right? And also the fact coming off of an Achilles, right? He's 40 years old. So I think it's a whole package of things.
Yeah, I almost want to go grab the aluminum foil. Because I think there's some politicalness to this. I'm sorry, our media is very, NBC is very left. Rodgers is he claims to be in the middle and all that, but anything that's not seen as left is always seen as far right, extreme as MAGA, So I don't know. I think there's a little bit of that in there. I'm just gonna be really honest with it, and I think it's kind of why a lot of the negative attention that Roger gets is what it is, because it doesn't lean to some, a lot of what the mainstream media is are left, right? So basically that's just kind of what I see from it, right? And any chance they get, they can fucking do that fucking crap, right? But let me ask you this. All right, so the Jets are 25 right now, right, on this list. If let's say that Aaron Rodgers did not exist, right, and it was Tyrod Taylor, right, as your starting quarterback going into the 2024 season, they would still be higher than 25.
Absolutely, they would still be a bit. Yeah, even us with Tyrod Taylor,
borderline playoff team, borderline.
We're still a borderline playoff team. That's like a 9-win team to me.
Well, look, I would say Tyrod Taylor as the quarterback the past 2 seasons, they easily make the playoffs. I'm 100% convinced about that. So if you have Tyrod Taylor as your quarterback now instead of Aaron Rodgers, I mean, would the ranking change? I don't know. Like I said, I think it's their bias to the Jets in general. They're just biased to the Jets for some reason. Mike Florio and that whole team, they always write negative things about the Jets.
Yeah.
It's always negative. The Jets never win a game. The other team loses it, right? That's just how they look at it. And everything is just, sarcastic and comical about them. So they don't take the Jets as a franchise seriously with or without Rodgers. So does the Rodgers piece have something to do with it? Yeah. But even if Rodgers wasn't on the team and Tyrod Taylor was, where they move up to 23, 22? I don't think they're going to put them top 7, top 10. I'm looking at from, and this is a little bit dated, but from, CBS Sports, which is wholly owned by CBS, they have the Jets at 11, right? Yeah. Which is definitely a more, plausible ranking. So again, if it was political, I think we'd see a lower ranking across the entire spectrum. I just think there's
Fox? What's Fox? What does Fox have us at?
Let me see.
Yeah, I bet Fox is the highest.
No, the highest was PFF.
Yeah.
That was the highest.
That's not a mainstream network. I'm talking about mainstream network.
Which that is crazy in itself, because PFF is usually not too friendly to the Jets in terms of how they grade us out.
Their analytics, they're as neutral as you can possibly.
All right, so Fox Sports, their most recent one I can find is from May 4th. They have the Jets at 7. But what it says about, but the breakdown, right, is the team entered December at 7-4, narrowly missed the playoffs in part due to atrocious quarterback play. Even if Aaron Rodgers is no longer MVP caliber, he's a significant step up at the game's most important position. The depth along the offensive line is troublesome, but the talent at the skill positions on defense helps offset that concern. The hype in the Big Apple is totally justified. And I would also say, Fox News, maybe Aaron Rodgers, but Fox News also loathes New York, right? They loathe everything about New York City. So I don't think they would rank the Jets 7 only because of Aaron Rodgers. So, again, politically speaking, I don't think that has much to do with this. I think it's just, bias on the fact of the Jets in general from Pro Football Talk.
All I know is I kind of just proved that on a basic hypothesis, the most right wing of those big networks, right, which was Fox, right, had the Jets the highest, right. CBS the left, but a little bit more in the middle. What was it? 11, you said, right? And
11.
then an NBC network, right, which is super left, right? 25.
But again, I don't think that's political, right? I mean, just because again, Fox.
Yes, it is China.
Fox Sports, right? Everything about Fox, they hate New York. So I just can't see them if it was politically based. There's no way they'd allow the Jets to be ranked 7. They'd be like, they're ranked 32nd because we loathe New York.
Yeah, well,
right.
What I want to do right now, I want to share the image that Adnan had in our group chat, which was the the Jets QB efficiency, quarterback efficiency through all the years. We'll do that real quick. I mean, all right, so let's go to here's Aaron Rodgers, all nice and pretty.
And give the credit, John. It's from
Jets, and but it's from PFF, right?
Yeah.
And then here's Zach Wilson, and here's Tyrod over here. Tyrod's like right in the middle, right? Aaron is obviously above the line, and Zach is just. And then Darnold is over here. We had Simeon for a little while, right? He's over there. I don't see anybody else that I'd recognize on this list. Is actually 2015, so this might have Fitzpatrick somewhere on here, right?
Right there up to the top by Roethlisberger. Go down.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, right above Stroud, right above Goff.
There we go. Okay, but that also mixes some non-Jet years that were interesting. Who else have we had? Is Josh McCown anywhere on here? No.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
Josh McCown.
So literally, we could have Carson Wentz and be, a night and day better team.
I mean, 2015 Carson Wentz, right? But I think when you look at this, the one thing that holds true is that Aaron Rodgers over that time frame has just been exponentially better than any Jet quarterback included over that time frame. So I think that's the whole point. Just a healthy Aaron Rodgers elevates this team, to a just different level completely, multiple levels. And that's what you got to look at.
Yeah, I just want to correct you on the Carson Wentz. His 2017 season was the year that he was like the wow year from him. And he came in third in the MVP voting. I did not got injured.
Is that the year he got hurt? Yeah, and they won.
Yeah,
the
he
Super
got
Bowl.
hurt that
and
year.
they won the Super Bowl. But had he not gotten injured, he was going to be the MVP. No question.
Yeah.
No question. I mean, the stat line on that second year in the league, right? 101.9 QB quarterback rating, 78.6 QBR, which was the highest in the league, right? He had a 33-7 TD INT ratio.
Wow.
Yeah, which is really good. 13 games, 11-2 in 13 games.
Where's that guy? Where'd that guy go?
12 and a half, really, right? Because he got hurt in that Rams game, remember? And he had a torn ACL and he threw a touchdown. I don't know if you guys remember that. He
never came back.
And he never came back to that, right? And he threw for 3,300 yards.
That's nuts, man. How do you go from that to irrelevance?
Well, to be fair, the next year, 11 games, 5-6 record for some weird fucking reason, 3,000 yards, 21-7 ratio.
Not bad for
102 QB rating, but a 62 QBR. Yeah, he really went downhill after that.
Yeah.
Where is he now? He was in the Rams last year. Where is he now?
He's on the couch right now.
He's on the Chiefs.
Oh, is he? Okay.
That's interesting.
Wow.
Should we move on?
Yeah. I mean, I think we pretty much beat that one.
I'm calling the shots here. Woo.
Woo.
Yeah, my voice is a little thin from I don't know. Anyway, the Jets cut Tae Hayes, who had a marijuana possession. which sucks, but it can get to the whole talk about marijuana, and I kind of love to get into that talk a little bit because I think that's interesting. But I guess, in my opinion, like, wasn't really high up on the roster anyway, right? And if you're going to be that low on the totem pole, you can't fuck around, right? Or give any excuse, you know? And he was probably going to be not even going to make the 53. If that's totally fair, right? And this saves us some money, right? And
I mean, he was a practice squad guy in my estimation, anyway.
Yeah, so I don't know. Anyone feel anything about this one, or just let's talk about weed?
No, I mean, I think you said it right. I think it's if this were sauce, I don't think anything would happen, right? Mm-hmm. But because it's a guy who's a fringe player at best, you're going to make an example of him and you're not going to tolerate anything, right? So I think that's kind of the main lesson there.
I'd actually disagree with you. If it was sauce, it'd be a fucking major, huge deal.
The media would make it a big deal, but the team would not.
Yeah, the Jets wouldn't cut him or trade him.
Yeah, let's think about this, right? So it's a marijuana possession, and we are living in a state where marijuana is legal. Like New York marijuana is legal, recreational, whatever. It's fully legal in this state. Number one. Number two, he bonded out for $300. That just tells you the severity of the crime, which is not severe at all. You don't bond out for $300 if your crime is like some big offense. He just was in some backwater redneck Morgan County, Alabama, where they think that's the devil's lettuce, and they just have backward, antiquated views on the stuff. And
it's a gateway drug. It's a gateway drug, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's a gateway drug. Hey, man, I started out smoking weed, right? And then all of a sudden, another.
That's not how that works, bro. Because think about because 100% of heroin addicts, smoked weed at one point. What percentage of marijuana addicts did heroin? Like none. It's like a 1%. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. The gateway thing that as a theory is just there's no basis behind it.
Yeah, I will say something very interesting about the weed these days, right? So they did some studies on this. I believe it was in 2012. They said that somewhere between 5 and 7% of users had a physical, basically addiction to marijuana, right? Or had physical side effects from withdrawal, right?
It's probably higher than that.
The weed's gotten so much stronger these days. That number's gone up to 40-something% right now.
I mean, based on what study, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's.
I'd have to pull it up again. I didn't know if I was going to go in that direction. I probably should have, so I could put my professor hat on. But I mean, like, it was some university, one of the Ivy League ones,
Look, the reality is, if you, especially if your team is based in a state where that's like a legal accepted thing, there should just be no penalty in the NFL, regarding marijuana. So that definitely should be a thing. It should be destigmatized. It shouldn't be a problem. These guys have been smoking since before, since the Joe Namath days, guys have been smoking weed, on the side. They do it for various reasons, for relaxation, for, anxiety, pain management. Well, you want these guys all hopped up on OCs and shooting themselves, or you want them to just smoke a little weed? Like, I'd much rather them take a natural plant and smoke that people have been smoking for tens of thousands of years, versus, taking this pill and that pill and this pill, and then they're all drugged up and they don't know what's going on. I'm pretty sure you can operate and be very physical, on weed, even if you smoked before game. Whereas, like, if you take those painkillers, you're whacked out, man. You're in another world, where, like, it's like it interferes with your actual cognitive functions. Like, I just think that, it's just such a nothing burger issue. We should, as a society, grow up past this. If there's no issues with alcohol and tobacco products, there should be no issues with marijuana and marijuana products being used by NFL players. Just because you can test for it and it stays in the system longer, it doesn't mean you're high that whole time. Like, if you have weed in your system right now, you could have smoked 20 days ago, and you could have not been high in over 3 weeks, or you could have not been high in 3 weeks and still be testing positive for it. Like, that's just how that works. Like, that's how the effects on the body. Doesn't mean you're still high, so like, I don't know, man.
So I think from my perspective, right, I just play devil's advocate a little bit, maybe take the conservative side of things, right? You have to abide by the law where you are, right? And the fact of the matter is, it was illegal where he was, and he broke the law. For a fringe roster player, you cannot do that. As a fringe roster guy, you got to be in bed at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m., be up at 8 a.m., get your first workout in at 9, right?
And that's fair.
That's what you have to be. But I do understand from the perspective that, look, I don't think weed should be this, crazy thing that people are getting suspended for and all of that. But again, like, until the whole country comes to that kind of realization that weed isn't a big deal and it's legal everywhere, you can't do it in places it is illegal. And he should have known that. He broke the law, and unfortunately has to pay the consequences. Now, I do think, like, with his Jets film from last year, he'll probably catch on with a team for, by training camp. Hopefully this will be adjudicated by then, and he can, catch on with somebody and try to make a roster. But I have no problem with what the Jets did, and I think that it is, incumbent on him to understand that I can't do this here, so I better not, right? So
yeah, and by the way, I don't disagree with anything you said. It's just I just think the consequences are stupid consequences for a stupid non-crime. That's my point in it. But yes, you got to follow the rules. You got to do, listen, if you're at a job and they say, hey, like, we don't like green in this company. Don't wear green shirts. We're going to pay you $1 million a year. You better fucking burn your green shirts or forget to not, burn your fucking green shirts, bro. They're paying. Like, that's it. Like, or don't work there. It's a free country.
Yeah, Goldman Sachs had a thing too, I believe, back in the day, where like if you were under a certain management level, you had to be a clean-shaven person.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I remember. I was on rehab with someone, like some dude who obviously was all hopped up on shit, right? Basically, I worked for Goldman Sachs, and I'm like, oh, what was that like? Like, I couldn't grow a beard, and he was like,
military stuff.
Well, look, that's the same thing with the Yankees, right? I mean, you can't have facial hair with the Yankees, and you either shave it or you don't get the, you know what I mean? So it's like all of these things that are in place, like, you just gotta follow the law. If Hayes were in New York or wherever it's legal, then he'd have no issues, right? So it's just like it's a tough thing for sure, and I do feel for him. But, you got to be smarter than that as a fringe guy.
Yeah, exactly. You got to know your role, know your place, know where you're at, and you got to do what you got to do till you get to that level where you can be a little bit more reckless.
Right.
Yeah. Funny thing, you guys want to do a Mount Rushmore of athletes and marijuana?
Sure. Well, let's do it.
I'm gonna throw up Ricky Williams, of course, because he literally ruined his fucking career for it, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna throw up Randy Moss because that was one of the things that basically got him drafted so late and all that, right?
I'm gonna say Josh Gordon absolutely obliterated what should have been a top wide receiver career is Josh Gordon. Like, that guy was just a freakish talent, fast, could catch, but he just couldn't put the weed down long enough, to not get in trouble. And had he not, because he missed so many seasons and then that much interruption, and teams didn't want to take a chance on him. Like, that guy, if he was squeaky clean, he could add a Megatron type career.
Oh no, he would have been Hall of Fame. He was, when he played full seasons, he was incredible.
Yeah. I'll throw Marshawn Lynch in there too, just because I think he's got like a weed thing going on right now.
Who? Marshawn Lynch?
Yeah.
But he didn't really get in trouble. He just did what he
did. He's just cool as shit, man. He's just
a cool dude. Yeah, that's a dude I would love to have on the show one day.
Let's agree me on this. Is Marshawn Lynch the most likable NFL player of all time?
He's one of them.
I mean, there are a lot that fall in that category, but
Like,
he's definitely up
no
there.
bad thing about them, right? Marshawn
you
is
know-
definitely one. Maybe Drew Brees. I'd throw that in there too. As a
You know who
quarterback.
actually was one before all his shit went down? O.J. Simpson.
Yeah,
O.J.
yeah,
Simpson
yeah.
before the trial.
That is a good one.
O.J.
Yeah,
Simpson before
yeah.
the trial was probably had the title of most likable football person.
Okay, wait. Let's do the whole roster. Fuck it. So we got our 2 running backs, and anyone gonna argue with Drew Brees on this one?
Wait, what roster are we doing?
This is the most likable roster.
Oh yeah, I thought you were doing Reed. I was
thought
like,
you
Drew
were still doing the
Brees.
weed
Yeah, I
one.
know. Me too.
Yeah,
I'm
so
like,
we got 3 already. Let's finish.
All right, let's
the
go
Mount
wide
Rushmore.
receivers. Wide receivers. We need 3.
Well, wait. Let's finish the Mount Rushmore thing.
I did with
We had Ricky Williams. You had Randy. Who'd you have?
Randy
Ricky
Moss.
Williams,
Randy Moss,
Randy Moss.
Josh Gordon, threw Marshawn Lynch in there.
Marshawn Lynch. Adnan,
Yeah.
you have anyone better than that for weed?
I don't think so. I'm trying to rack my brain. I
I
mean,
know.
would another one be? I don't know if he's better than these guys, but I think it's like guys who were kind of caught or no. Didn't Martavis Bryant get in a lot of trouble for weed? And he was like a really good receiver until he got caught. But yeah, I think those 4 work for me.
Okay, excellent. Now the most likable team. We've got our quarterback is Drew Brees, Marshawn, not OJ. We can't do OJ. That's just not fair.
Yeah.
R.I.P. guys. R.I.P. OJ. Okay, he was a great follower to like Antonio Brown. I believe whoever's doing Antonio Brown's account was just OJ's account for a little while. But anyway, okay. Wide receiver, you need 2, right? For likable, right? I would throw Megatron in there.
I feel like he was just really quiet, though. You know what I mean? Like he didn't.
Yeah, I think he more just didn't rock the boat than he
Yeah,
was
I
actually.
don't
Can anyone say a bad thing about Megatron?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he was the most likable.
Right. When you say likable, I'm thinking
Okay.
like Strahan.
All right,
Yeah, and I'm thinking
that's
like,
a good
yeah,
DN.
like-
That's a good DN.
yeah, like
I'm gonna throw
Marshawn
Larry
Lynch.
Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald. No one has a bad thing to say about Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, and he's a good. Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald is one for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
You got anything to pair it up with Larry Fitzgerald? Anything better than Calvin Johnson?
let me think.
Probably should have prepared for this, but that's okay. We'll go off top.
Receivers are tough because they're usually assholes.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
like T.O. was an asshole. Moss was not really like, known for, they're divas.
Yeah. All right. So tight end, I'm gonna go George Kittle.
Kittle.
I mean, I would Tony Gonzalez. Everybody loves
Yeah,
that
Tony.
guy,
Yeah,
man. I think it's Tony
T-Gon.
Gonzalez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
T-Gon.
He ruined it with his fucking broadcasting career because he sucks behind broadcast.
I
Whatever.
mean, look, but he's fine. I think everybody still loves him, right? Like he's one of those guys that goes on the list that, man, I wish he won a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like I think he's on. If you had a top 5 list for that, he'd be on it for sure.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's Tony
All right,
Gonzalez.
okay. I'm gonna go. Let's see. Mangold's got to be on that fucking list.
Mangold.
Yeah, Mangold's amazing, and that's biased, but we're allowed to do that because this is a Jet podcast, so we're putting.
Jason Kelsey.
Yeah, it's pretty good too for center.
Yeah.
Jason Kelsey's really like
He can back up.
He's
Mangold.
really likable.
he's funny as hell. Yeah, he's definitely the I think funnier of the Kelsey brothers.
Oh, 100%. Because
I
he's just
can't
like a
stand Travis
dude,
anymore.
You know,
Yeah.
he's just like a guy's guy. He's funny.
I can't stand
Like when he dressed up as Zach Galifianakis from
He's really likable.
yeah.
He is really likable. All right, left tackle. I'm gonna go Andrew Whitworth.
from The Hangover.
I'm gonna go Whitworth.
Okay.
Walter Payton Man of the Year and all that, right?
Yeah, no, he's a really good interview. Yeah, I think he's a good one.
And then the other one will be Joe Thomas.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, he's really good on TV, and yeah, I think he's excellent.
Yeah, guards. I'm gonna put Larry Allen in there.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a throwback.
Yeah, I mean, we can put him in. So long ago, I forget everything about him.
Yeah. Okay, and then you need one more guard, I guess, right? Anyone good to the? That's kind of hard. Guard's kind of hard, right?
I can't think. My knowledge of offensive guards isn't the greatest in general.
As personalities, yeah. I mean, like I'll throw ABT in there. Fuck it, he's a right guard. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's fine. We can throw
ABT's
it
really
down.
likable. Really likable.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
So,
on the defense, you want to go Strahan. That's pretty good.
Strahan and JJ Watt.
JJ Watt, yeah.
JJ Watt now is likable, but some people were annoyed by him. I would have thrown Reggie White in there, but I don't mind throwing JJ Watt in there because he did like donate like everything to a fucking hurricane relief. So
Yeah, I mean, he
JJ
was.
Watt is a great guy.
can I put him at D tackle because he also did that too?
There you go. No, definitely, yeah. I agree on Reggie White.
And Reggie White was a fucking priest. Like,
Yeah,
how can you say fucking priest? All right, we're
Dude,
playing.
I think. I mean, maybe I'm just biased right now, but I think Quinn Williams is a funny dude.
dude, he really
Very
is.
likable.
So funny, dude. He was
Yeah.
so likable on the Hard Knocks.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I really liked him.
Yeah, it's really hard not to like Quinnen.
Yeah. Cute,
Yeah.
and that's not just me being a Jets homer. That's like I heard that from other people who were fans of other teams that watch Hard Knocks.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Linebacker. I guess Bill Romanowski would not be a good candidate, right?
Yeah, neither would
Lawrence
would-
Taylor.
yeah, Ray Lewis, right? Like,
Oh God. Yeah.
I will
it's
say
tough.
about Ray Lewis, everyone respects the fuck out of him. Oh, I got the guy.
Correct.
I got the guy. Zach Thomas.
Zach,
Yeah.
I was gonna say Luke Kuechly as well.
That's also really good too.
Yeah,
Yeah, Keith
And
Lee's
then
very well
I
liked.
think
I'll go Kuechly. That's better. That's better. All right, you need another two.
What are we
linebackers.
doing? Base 4-3 here, so 3 linebackers.
yeah, 4-3. So
Okay, so
you
we
know
got
who else? But
And
you know
Earl.
who else is really, really good? That former Jet, Demario Davis.
Davis. Yeah,
Like I've never heard one. He's like a gentleman and a scholar. I've never heard one bad thing about him, and he's a beast. So
That's
I would
fair.
put him in there too. So
Okay.
maybe those three: Zach Thomas, him, and Luke.
Okay, now
That's
the
fair.
second. Now the secondary, right?
This is tough.
That one's
Oh.
really tough. Ronnie Lott played with a finger coming off, basically. I don't know how you can do that, but Rod Woodson would probably be more likable, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say Woodson. What about
And Reed is very likable too.
I was gonna say Ed Reed because he was excellent. I don't think anybody really dislikes him. Corners are
Palomalo though. Palomalo is really like. I mean, those commercials. They're still doing it with them because they're so
yeah.
okay. And now the corners, I guess, right? I would, maybe Champ Bailey.
Champ Bailey's a good one. And what I was gonna say is if we have Palomalu as a safety, I think we could put Woodson as the other corner because he did play corner before he moved to safety.
Rod Woodson or Charles Woodson?
Rod Woodson.
Yeah, Charles Woodson could be a likable corner though.
Yeah. I think Rod though is a little bit more likable.
Okay, and then kicker, we're obviously putting Justin Tucker in there, right?
what about Brian Dawkins?
Nah, people did not like Brian Dawkins.
Yeah, and isn't he in prison now, Brian Dawkins?
I want you to be right on that, but I don't think you're right on
Hold
that.
on.
No, I don't think you're right.
Yeah, look that up. Is Brian Dawkins in jail? No, there's
Hmm.
no way he can be in jail.
No, there's a safety that is. Hold on.
It's not Brian Dawkins.
Is it?
It's not Brian Dawkins.
No, it's not Brian Dawkins. Who is it then? Keep going though.
Okay, and then kicker, I want to throw Justin Tucker in there just because he's funny, man. He is funny.
So my bad. It's Darren Sharper.
Darren Shaw.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's Darren
Whoa,
Sharper.
way different.
Very
Way
different
different.
conversation. Now you're getting in the Pac-Man Jones conversation.
Darren Sharper like raped a bunch of women, right? Basically.
Yeah.
Something like that. He
That's-
was on.
that's- sorry, Brian Dawkins.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
What,
no, Brian Dawkins is a cool dude. My buddy Aaron met him. And,
What So who'd you say for kicker? Tucker.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Tucker in there.
What
and
about
it has to be Morstead for punter. That dude's
Morstead's really likable.
he's really likable. I mean, you can tell by what he charges for media appearances.
Who are we gonna put as the coach? That's
Ooh.
an interesting.
Andy
one.
Reid. It's got to be Andy Reid. I
Yeah,
love
he is.
everything about Andy Reid.
Andy Reid's a good one. John Madden is a good one too.
Yeah, I think he got it. I think he got it.
I mean, if we can put-
that is universally loved.
But if we can put together like a staff, right? Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, head coach. I think you can go Madden as the head coach, Reed as the offensive coordinator, and then
I think Madden's the one though. I mean, like we really got to know Madden over the years. I mean,
again, right? As the
head up with Madden as the guy for the big games, you know.
Well, right. Again, I mean, Madden, yes, but if you were putting a staff together, it would be Madden would be the head coach. Reed is the offensive coordinator, and if you wanted to do a defensive coordinator, I would probably say like
Dan Campbell is up there for me too.
Campbell, yeah, we're all fucking
he just always looks like he's always chewing a dip, and then like he's giving a friggin' wrestling promo, and
then he cries.
Promos, right? Yeah. I would say this: my offensive line coach, I would want it to be that Browns offensive line coach with a massive gut. Like anytime he said something, his gut would move. It was the one in Hard Knocks. Remember when the Browns...
I remember it. Yeah.
Years ago. I'm done with this. All right, I lost my attention span on that one. I'm sorry, guys.
It's all good, man.
Final thoughts. Final thoughts. Fuck it.
I'll go first. I mean, listen, it's just anti-Jet bias all around. It just makes me more and more, from the Haason Reddick stuff to the, getting played and thrown in at 25th, and just blatant disrespect. People just think they can shit on us and say what they want and do what they want and talk down to us forever. And I always give the example of the Lions, man. Like, teams are not bad forever. Look at the Texans. They were terrible, and now they just a couple good things broke their way. Now we're talking about them in the playoffs like they go there every year. Like, look at the Lions, like the moves they've made. Look where they at, how far they've come. They were a laughing stock of the league for a while too. It's just no one cared because no one cares about Detroit or the Lions. But with the Jets, because we're in this big media market, it's just like carte blanche to just shit on us all the time. Like, we have the most disloyal beat reporters and like people that cover us. Like, people that cover the Jets hate the Jets. There are a number of reporters that cover the Jets regularly that actually hate the Jets. It's crazy. That doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, look, like if all this bullshit that was happening, if it was happening on the Dolphins, no one would even know about it except Dolphins fans, and no one would care. So it's just, at the end of the day, it's just it's just a slow media time, slow sports time of the year, mixed with big media market with not a lot to do, mixed with, blatant Jet bias, and you stir it up in a pot, and then you get this slop of bullshit that they try to feed us and tell us that we're the 25th best team in the league, and try to tell us that Haason Reddick won't be here to play, even though he's, contractually obligated and has no recourse and has every incentive in terms of like when the season actually starts, he needs to play. If anyone even, and that's the thing, is like, because that's how it's hatred, because no one looks beyond the surface of these issues, right? Like, we're not freaking geniuses, but we're just like people who have half a brain and do a little bit of research and, are fans of the Jets. So, we look a little bit past the surface. Like, any idiot can figure out that, Haason Reddick has to play this year. With barring injury, he has to play. He's not going to hold out and not play. Like, that's not a thing that's going to happen. He's not going to just take the year.
Le'Veon Bell. I'm going to interrupt you, but Le'Veon Bell is the perfect example of someone that did that.
Nah, Le'Veon Bell is a very, very different situation and a very different type of player. Like, also Le'Veon was in a position that, like, that was just when we were getting to the point of like running back becoming like less and less valued and stuff like that. Like, there weren't a lot of teams that lined up to pay him like he thought he was. He kind of overvalued his situation. And then, it turned out he wasn't really, look at what his career was after the Steelers. It wasn't really much. You know what I mean? There wasn't really a whole lot there. So
it was us.
Yeah, exactly. And wasn't really anything there. So, like, listen, like, it's just, we need to just let the Jets hate go, because these people are not even doing due diligence. They're just giving hate. They're just being completely subjective, and they're not being objective in their thinking. They're not like looking at the variables of like why this player might be behaving that way. They're not looking at, Aaron Rodgers and saying, oh, he does this every year. Oh, we even canceled that mini camp last year. Oh, he's been to like 10 other practices that were not voluntary, completely voluntary. He's, basically offered one of the receivers to live in his fucking house. He was voted, most inspirational player by his teammates. Like, is that's really the guy that you're gonna say, oh, he doesn't care about the team and it's a shit show because he missed one practice because he told months in advance? Like, they're not doing the research. They're not doing, they're not doing their journal. There's no journalistic integrity there. It's easy to hate on the Jets. We're the punching bag, and I'm just fucking sick of it. So, you know what? I just want this all to go away and the hype to calm down, like I said, and I want us to, just come in real quiet and just kick the shit out of everybody, and just really, really make a statement this year so that once and for all we can, shut the haters up.
Adnan.
Yeah, I think, first off, with Haason Reddick, one of the things that I read about the new CBA is that every time, right, when you miss a day of training camp, there's a pretty hefty fine, and that fine can no longer be waived by teams, right? So if he holds out, he's going to be responsible for all of those fines, whether, he gets a new contract or not. So there is a real incentive for him to show up, and I think he will, right? It's just all of these things, again, are annoying, but I think he'll be there on day one of training camp, and the Jets will get something done with him, before that. The Aaron Rodgers stuff, the Jets power ranking stuff, I think it is, it's, again, annoying, but I don't think anything really matters when it comes to this stuff until the season starts, right? Until week 3, week 4, then we'll see what this team really is and what it really looks like, which I'm excited for, So I think all of these things, again, we talked about it with other topics, right? Now is that dead period between now and training camp starting. Every little thing is going to be turned into a big deal, and we just kind of have to weather the storm, and get to training camp. And from there, it's going to be, nothing but good things. So as I always say, I'm excited for this season. I'm excited for this team. There are things to be annoyed about, but I don't think there's anything to panic about.
Yep. It's a slow season in the sports cycle right now. I mean, God fucking sakes, right? We had Game 7 of the Stanley Cup last night, right? And they sent Charles Barkley and Stephen A. Smith to the Stanley Cup to talk hockey. They had no fucking clue what they were talking about. They had no fucking clue. But that's what it was. The Olympics is coming up, and no one seems to care. The only thing they care about, or at least the news cycle, is that Caitlin Clark is not joining the women's team, which actually apparently it cost the women's team $60 million of sponsorship, which is just amazing because that league already is going to lose $50 million this year based on their projections.
So stupid. I don't know why they didn't do that.
Yeah. It's I mean, like, hey, we're trying to get you to be a profitable sport. What are you doing? Like this, that would have done it, but actually I don't think that would have gone credited to the WNBA anyway. So it wouldn't have counted it, but still it's very funny as it is. Okay. So real quick, a failure on our part is not putting Le'Veon Bell in that marijuana team because he did get suspended a couple times. As I was looking him up, and he actually has a 3-1 boxing record, 2-1 professionally. Last 2 professional ones. The third win was against Adrian Peterson, if you guys remember that. Well, whatever. And I also somehow in that research I was doing while I was hearing your final thoughts, Talk to a Girl is a teacher apparently, which is just fantastic by so many reasons. But anyway, it's a slow season. We're going to have slow and stupid content and make a big deal about everything during the summer. So just enjoy basically becoming dumber. That's basically what it is. You're just going to get dumber this summer listening to the sports. Just go do something nice. hang out with your fucking family or some shit. You know, learn to play golf because that sport is cruising right now. That's probably the most exciting sport right now in the summer. Actually, I would say that the golf. I mean, Bryson was just fucking going ape shit, you know, and fucking making everyone love him, you know, for being a U.S. Open champion. That's where my focus is until my company too and all that. But anyway, I don't really care. I'm kind of over it. So anyway, fuck the Patriots, fuck the Dolphins, fuck the Bills. Go Jets.
Go Jets.
That's
All right.
Thank you, guys.
thanks everyone.
Peace.